everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Cynthia, and today's video we're going to be revisiting an old project. So this is going to be a Ruby and Pearl EXO design team project. So I am going to be using some of her digital prints to kind of spruce up this journal that I created a long time ago. And here I'm just showing you, this is a bit of a starting point of the inspiration, the kind of vibe I want to go for. We created this little piece of ephemera together in a previous video, so I'll list that down below. And today we're going to be focusing on this journal. This is intended to be a traveling journal, so in this I wanted to kind of record all of the travels that I've done in the past and just like gather all these memories before I start forgetting even more. And as I created this journal pretty early on in like my discovery of junk journaling, I really find that this isn't at all the type of journal that I want to create. So I mean, there's nothing wrong per se with the journal, and I could absolutely use it, but I'm not invited to it. I don't feel, when I look at it, I don't feel intense to start journaling in it and to open it up and touch it and feel the pages in there or anything like that, which is kind of everything that I want in a journal. So I just have been kind of looking at it and thinking I really need to revisit it and somehow turn it into something that I can use. Here I'm just showing you some of the items that I want to be recording in there. Those are all things that I've gathered over the past like 15 years and more actually. And they're all treasures that I want to be able to record somewhere, and to do that, I need a journal, and I don't want to let this journal go to waste. I don't want to completely trash it. That doesn't go with what I believe in, right? So I just thought that these prints here from Ruby and Pearl EXO would be the perfect starting point to kind of sprucing it up and making it pretty. And I've also gathered a couple pieces of fabrics that I want to cover it with, just so that it looks a little bit more like what I'm used to creating and what I am attracted to in a journal. So the first thing I'm going to do here is remove this little ribbon. You guys, this ribbon is like hard to the touch and like scratchy, and I would never use that again. And it just goes to show like I was really using everything that I had on hand back when I was creating this journal. So that was all I had, and now that I have quite a bit more supplies to work with, I'm excited to turn this into something that I really want to use. The bones of the journal are perfectly fine. I created it with a cereal box, and although that's not really something I do at this time, there's nothing wrong with it, and it works great. So I'm just going to start by removing all of the signatures. I am going to be salvaging as much materials as I can. So I'm just going to be undoing the little knots and actually keeping the thread so that I can rebind some signatures in there and just keep the rest of the threads for whatever other projects I may be able to use them with. I really hope you're all doing really well. I just wanted to take a moment and thank you all for your patience with me and your kind messages. You know, as many of you know, moved, and in the past few months I just haven't been able to be on here or on Instagram either very consistently. It's been kind of hard on me, like energy wise. I just don't feel like I have enough energy to kind of dedicate myself to other things other than like unpacking and packing and organizing and just like doing all the paperwork that comes with moving. So I just thank all of you for being patient with me and understanding that this is just a season that is a little bit too busy for me to be more present on here, but I'm hoping that as the months continue to go, I'm able to come back on here a little bit more often and consistently. So I hope that you're all doing really good. Things are good here. I got a desk just about a couple weeks ago now, so I've just been trying to organize myself a little bit, and I do have some footage recorded of that, and I'm excited to kind of pull all the footage from organization and whatnot all together and share that with you guys. It won't be right away. It's gonna take a little bit still. We're still missing a lot of furniture to be able to organize my supplies, but I'm really excited to be able to share some of that with you. So as you can see here, I have all the pages that were in this journal. I don't know how many, but there was so many signatures. I don't understand like what I was thinking. So I'm also going to be removing this little weird pocket. Yeah, because I want to cover the inside anyway. So here you can have a better look at the cover. As I said, there's nothing wrong with it, and so I just thought I would cover it up and just make it more my own. And what I was thinking is that I could do a little bit of a focus point on the front of the journal cover, and to do that I was going to be using an image from one of the kits from Ruby and Pearl EXO. And so I'm just kind of showing you the different images that I've selected. Either like they make me think of traveling or exploring, or I just like the colors and the imagery on there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of select from a few that I have gathered, and I'll let you watch that process. So here I'm showing you some of the fabrics that I've gathered. I am going to be using this, this fabric here I don't end up using, but I love it so much. It's from Flossy May Cottage. And here are the fabrics that I'll be using. So this one here I got from Chantal from Red Beach Cafe. And the other little hanky, I just, my mother-in-law found at a thrift shop for me, I think. At this point, I have so many little hankies that I don't really know where they come from, but I want to say that one was that. So I'm just gonna kind of place them like that. I am gonna be doing the sewing off camera. I did that just like watching Buffy, sitting on my couch. And here I'm auditioning this picture, and you know what, like I wanted to use that picture, but it just wasn't really working, so I ended up actually using one of the same images that I had used to do the first little project that we did together for this project. Oh my goodness, I'm saying project a lot, I'm sorry. But yeah, so you know, I wanted to layer it with a piece of a piano paper, and there was, I don't know what it was, like there just seemed to be a little bit too many colors maybe. I wanted something a little bit softer. I really like this image here, but then it didn't really feel really traveling at all for like, so that annoyed me a little bit and I didn't want to use that. So that's why I settled on the other picture. And I'm just going to be layering it a little bit to, well, first off, make it sturdier. So I'm going to put it on a piece of cardboard. And again, I'm going to be layering it with some piano paper just to add a little bit more texture and interest to it, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead with that top picture with the imagery kind of at a shore. And there's the ship. And I just really like these images. I don't know, they feel a certain way to me. It just like really speaks to me. So I really wanted to use that again, just in a different way and have it a little bit more permanently and on view for whenever I use this journal. I hope that this is giving you some ideas on perhaps you have a project that you kind of worked on, you almost finished it, or you finished it but you never ended up using it the way you intended to, and perhaps you can go ahead and revisit it and kind of evaluate why you're not using it and change that and be able to make it to use. You know, I think a lot of us can relate to that sometimes things we work on don't necessarily end up looking the way we wanted them to, or having the purpose we wanted them to. But I think it's important to once in a while, not always, but once in a while, just taking a look at those projects that are unfinished or just like not being put to use, and just kind of deciding maybe there's one of them that you can do something with them. And it's just a really good feeling that after all this time, you know, though whatever you used for that and all the time that you put into it is not going to waste. So here you can see a little bit of my composition, and I'm just putting the journal to the side to be able to work a little bit more on this here. I was going to ask you guys, how do you feel about the wood under this little doily? Do you think that's a little bit too dark for me to be crafting on? I would like to craft on it, I think. I'm a little bit worried, like I don't want to put a bunch of glue on it, so I like having the doily, but the doily moves, so I think that might be a little bit distracting for the viewers. So just let me know how you feel about the background in videos. I would love to try and accommodate. I don't think I can do a white background, just unless I find a piece of white wood. I don't really know. But yeah, maybe let me know how you think this is looking, and I'm happy to try to go ahead and make some adjustments and kind of change up what it's looking like for now. And then how I'm going to be attaching this image onto the fabric that I'm covering the journal cover with is I'm going to be using some brad clips. So I've done that previously and I've shown my process, and that's just what I plan to do. So here I'm just showing you that I've created the holes that I'm going to need to attach the fabric all around, and these are the papers that I want to use for the inside of the cover. Now I do want to glue those down before I attach the cover, like the fabrics. So that's what I'm doing right here. And I'm just gonna use some tacky glue. That's what I have on hand at the moment. I'm gonna use the generous but reasonable amount. And I'm just gonna be spreading it around with my finger before pressing down. So here you see the results of that, and I just pressed everything down. I use my bone folder. I find that works really well, especially in this case, because I had some creases a little bit because of just like the box, the way that it's made. So that really helped me out. And now I'm gonna be just adding a little bit of washi tape on the inside there, just to add a little something extra. And I'm not going to be adding anything to the inside like of that like black part, just because I don't want to be searching for the holes a ton. And since I know that I'm covering the outside with fabric, I'm not going to be able to see the holes. And if I cover it on the inside as well, it's just going to be frustrating to be honest. So I don't want to do that. And it is a journal just for myself, and I really don't mind that the bones show at that point, like in that section there. So now moving on to the pages, I have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I have 11 signatures. What was I thinking? I do not know. That is a great question that I ask myself. That is so many signatures. Honestly, you guys, like, that would just make the journal so heavy as well. So I'm just gonna go through and select the papers that I still want to use, that I do like, because I feel like I went a little map crazy in there, and I really don't need that many map papers. It feels like just overwhelming to me, and kind of hard to journal on anyway. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select the ones that I do want to keep in my signatures, and then I'm just going to put the other ones aside, and they can be used for other projects, for collages and whatnot. So now I'm going back to the prints that I had previously selected and just putting aside the small pieces, and just going right ahead and selecting some of the pages that I do want to see in this journal. I'm going to start creating some signatures and just like reformulating a little bit what the journal will look like. I had selected just a bunch of different types of blues, and not all of them are going to work, so just kind of like trimming down or straining out, or no, filtering out filtering out the ones that I don't think will work right away. And then I'm just going to start assembling my signatures. I like to see different papers from the front of the signatures, and I like to kind of combine different textures and patterns and have a good mix of more plain papers as to more busy papers. So that's just what I'm doing here. I think my process has been explained a little bit in previous videos. So if you're curious, you can see I have a creating journals playlist on my channel. So you can definitely take a look at that. And I'm not going to be using all of these papers. There's still too many to me. In my signatures, I think I put 6 or 7, I think 7 or 8 pages in each, rather as like before there was, I think, like 4 or 5 pages each, and there was so many of them. So I'd rather have like a little bit of a bigger signature but less signatures. And by bigger, I don't mean very many. Like, I mean, yeah, typically I stay under 8 pages, and it depends on how thick the paper is as well. And now I'm also using the cover here just to have a good idea of what I want the very front page to look like. The selection of the first signature for me is always important, and I try to make it kind of like the most interesting one, just because that's what you see when you first open the journal. So I really wanted to showcase like a lot of textures and patterns and just a good variety of elements. From selecting the first signature, I like to make sure that all of my signatures look pretty beside one another, so I keep that in mind. So I really like to keep that signature that I've already created and try and create a second signature that will go alongside of it. And if I happen to create one that doesn't quite match, then I try and place it for the next one, but then keeping in mind that I want that following signature that I'm creating to look good beside each of them. Some points that I try to remember is that if one of my signatures, if the first paper is a printable, well, the next signature probably shouldn't start with a printable. And by like, that goes with anything. If the signature starts with a very plain paper, I would like the next signature to start with something a little bit busier and more interesting. So those are just some key points that I try to keep in mind when I create my signatures and when I decide where they go. And here you can see the cover. I finally kind of sewn all of it all around. And I attached that little picture with 4 brad clips like I mentioned I would. And these are the signatures. So I have 5 signatures, which is a much more reasonable amount. And I mean, I can always add more. I have the holes. And then for the closure, I use this really pretty fabric from Amy. And now you can see my signatures are also sewn in there. And it just feels a lot more inviting, a lot more manageable as well, less overwhelming with the amount of papers in there. And it just seems to flow a little bit better. It's less busy because there's a lot less map pages in there too, because those are so busy. So it really felt like there was too much of that. And it just has a really nice, like it's something different than what I would create from scratch now, but it feels really good for what I intend to use it for. So I'm just giving you a preview of these pages, and then my next step is going to be to work on the front page, like the front, not the front page, sorry, the inside, the front inside of the cover. I do want to create like some sort of little pocket or something where I can have a card that explains what this journal is, and perhaps like when I start journaling in it and whatnot. And so to do that, I have pre-selected some elements that I want to be working with. I have this kind of like a little envelope that I've created with some piano paper, and I'm just going to be placing that alongside some scraps of papers that I have from Ruby and Pearl XO, either from creating this or from other projects that I was working on. And I'm just kind of layering it, creating a bit of a cluster, adding a little tag onto it and a little flower sticker. And that is pretty much it for this video, you guys. You're gonna see me, I'm using some double-sided tape to adhere some of these and some wet glue, and otherwise you're just going to be seeing some close-up of the final project. I really hope that you enjoyed this video, that it gave you some ideas on how you can spruce up an older project that you worked on that isn't necessarily aligning with the things you create now. And thank you so much for joining me and for crafting with me today. It's been a pleasure to be back finally. I have a few more videos coming to you this week and next week, so hopefully from there I'm able to continue to create a little bit more consistently. All the information for Ruby and Pearl XO will be listed down below as always. I'm gonna have the different kits this time. I'm gonna have them listed down below. So if you have any questions, of course, feel free to write a comment. Otherwise, I wish you all a very good day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye now.